occasionally Arrow Video will release something on Blu-ray that I've just never heard of. And it's a mixture of puzzlement as to why are they releasing something this obscure, because they put out so many things that are phenomenally well known, and a puzzlement of, ooh, if they're putting this out, this must be really good. This must be worthy of the Arrow treatment. Sometimes I agree that they're worthy of the Arrow treatment, and sometimes I don't. This is a film where I think I am a little bit puzzled, but I kind of understand why it was released. This is a film from 1988 entitled Bloodstone. This is a movie I'd never heard of. This was produced by Nico Mastorakis, who put out, I think Arrow has signed a deal with him to release a lot of the films he directed and produced. He did one called Hired to Kill, he did Blood Tide, he did a lot of other films that they've put out so far. And this was a film that was basically an attempt to shoot an action film in India for the English language market internationally. This features an Indian actor that I'm somewhat familiar with, who I've always been entertained by, who is known, his nickname was Superstar. His actual name is Rajinikanth. Probably mispronounced that, but Superstar. If you know Indian movies, you know Superstar. So I was very excited. I'm like, oh my, this is a movie that stars Superstar. It's in English. Wow, this should be really fantastic. It's basically a riff on Romancing the Stone. This was released just a couple of years after Romancing the Stone. There's the titular Bloodstone is this giant ruby that everybody is after. It's one of those movies where it's sort of a game of hot potato, where all these grifters and government officials and all kinds of people who are after this Bloodstone for their various nefarious reasons. The star of the film is, well, there's hardly anybody you've probably heard of in this film. Julian Glover is the biggest name. He would go on to be in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, and the year after this. He was in For Your Eyes Only 7 years earlier. He's been in a lot of things over the years. That's probably the most recognizable face other than Superstar in the film. Also, unfortunately, the film features an American comedian named Marty Brill. He was on The Ed Sullivan Show the same night that the Beatles first appeared. He's been in tons of things over the years. I believe he's on one of the Star Trek series. He's a comedic actor. In this, he plays, in brownface, a bumbling Indian constable or local police officer who's trying to make everything work correctly and nab the bad guys, and he's painful. The Indian accent and oh, very good. It's just terrible. His bumbling, and it grinds the movie to a halt every time he comes in. And they said in the extras, they were looking for a Clouseau-like character. He's no Clouseau. It's really bad. The film itself looks gorgeous, really nicely shot, nice, beautiful color. Does not look its age whatsoever, thanks to the Arrow treatment. But I found it kind of a slog, personally. It's a light, upbeat action adventure comedy. The action is passably executed, but just not that spectacular. The leads are attractive, but kind of bland. Superstar isn't really given much to do in it. He's very go-go, aggressive, badass here and there, but just the way the action's executed, I thought it was better done in the Indian films I've seen him in. And overall, it's, certainly a well-mounted production. Certainly there was money and aptitude behind it. But overall, it's this film I watch and I'm kind of like, who is this for? I'm guessing it wasn't really for the American market, because I think even in '88, the American theatrical market was really demanding a bit more out of their films than this delivered. Video fodder, certainly. English language movie for other territories, probably. It probably was successful from what I think I heard in the extras on this. There's a nice interview, as all of these Nico Mastorakis films for Arrow are, as they're released, they all have nice long interviews with him about the circumstances of the production, which I found more interesting than the movie itself, actually. And a good amount of extras and behind the scenes, and usually a commentary. So I was not particularly a fan of Bloodstone. If you're a big fan of Superstar and you want to see him in an English language film, this might be a good way to do it. If you're a big fan of Marty Brill and you want to see him in India, there's that. But otherwise, it might be a fun film if you get friends together and you just kind of want to goof, and a kind of a throwaway action movie you don't have to pay perfect attention to. But for me, I feel like there's so many better movies than this to do that for. Your mileage may vary, but at any rate, Bloodstone is now available on Blu-ray from Arrow Home Video.